The historic centre in Sant Cugat Sesgarrigues has got remarkable buildings such as the church, the rectory or a house called Cal Paretes. All three buildings are in the church square. Sant Cugat Church is essential to explain the history of the town as it receives its name from some properties donation by Enoch Bofill near the Torre of Pentallols in 998 to the monastery of Sant Cugat del Vallès, and as a payment he received Gelida Castle. Then, the monastery of Sant Cugat built a little church dedicated to Saint Cugat in one of these properties. It seems that this church would be where nowadays there is library. In 1108, Almoravid's attacks destroyed the tower and the little church dedicated to Saint Cugat, and some years after another church was built in the same place. So the church we see now was built on a previous church basement that was enlarged and transformed during its existence. There are chapels dated from 1590, 1613, 1716 and from the 19th and 20th century. The front wall has got a voussoir door and a cut front that dates from 1728. The bell tower from the 19th century has got a square base, the windows are pointed, and the Santissime Chapel dates from the 20th century. Around the church we can see the remains of a medieval wall and other elements built from the wall. Around the church there is a recreation of a part of the Roman via that, according to the studious priest Antoni Margarit, it would pass in front of the temple and would continue all along the present Sant Antoni Street. In the same square, in front of the church, there is another building that also integrates medieval elements, the rectory. It was built in the 17th century and it was transformed a lot during the years. In the 50s, it became an important cultural center. Even today, in the building, we can see stone voussoirs archers that, according to the history expert priest Margarit, they could belong to the first little church that gave the name to Sant Cugat. Just next to the rectory, there is another building that is part of the town heritage, Cal Paretes, a medieval house renovated in December 1998 by architect Josep Bertran. Now, it is a residence for elderly and its interior preserves some of the original structure elements which are quite interesting, such as some diaphragm arches and some stone entrances. But in the town center of Sant Cugat, there are also traces of other periods and styles such as modernism and the noucentism. We highlight the town hall, a noucentist building located in Sant Antoni Street, where we point out the balcony with balustrade and two big doors in the middle of the front wall. In this street, at the crossing with Butez Street, we find another building in this eclectic historic group, Cal Murero. It is a modernist building where we point out the wall decoration with wavy window frames and decorated with engraved flowers. In the upper part, there is a flowers and leaves pattern that covers all the facade, and even higher, we see some corbels with ornamentation. But not all the buildings in the historic center are singular. Like all the towns in Penedès, the first houses were the landowners' farms. But at the end of the 18th century, the workers' houses started to draw streets and scattered groups of houses. The first urban houses in Sant Cugat are in the historic center. They took profit of the old buildings attached to the old factories and reformed them. They belong to the old part of town that we suppose it was surrounded by a protection wall. It is possible that the majority of houses in Sant Cugat were built from the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, and they made the new streets as Sant Antoni de les Creus, the Crosses, or Del Pont Street, the Bridge Street.